There's about 15 seats on each end zone. We'll buy those seats and we'll sit there and we'll be on TV. This was in Green Bay. That's more of us. This was in San Francisco. It was a real exciting game. And that's my son with the 12 on, his girlfriend Lux. And that's my daughter, my youngest daughter, Lauren. She's currently at UCLA. She started as a summer school last year. She just finished her freshman. Now she's going right into summer school. She's going to try to do 4 years in less than 3 years. I'm very blessed. She's still got she's doing a straight A average. Her name's Lauren. Like I said, I pray before every game. I got to talk about the white guy in the room. My best friend, Greg. 10 years ago, Greg came to me and said, I like football. Do you like football? And it started. And I said, yeah, I'm an airline pilot. I get free passes. So we flew standby to Newark to go to our very first road game 10 years ago. We played the New York Giants. We held this sign up. We'll be back February 2nd. And that's 2013 when the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Greg and I were both there. So about the first year or two, it's just Greg and I doing the road games. And this is how I looked before all this started. I had a foam hat, and on eBay, I bought a little bit of dreadlocks, and that was it. And I didn't think much of it, just wanted to be a little bit different. And then this happened. This changed my life. If you want to read the whole story from the Burke Museum, you Google the origin of the Seahawks logo, the story unfolds. And this will tell a story that I'm going to tell you in a more professional manner. My cousin, Andy Iverson, is a world-famous artist. I'm not sure if some of you know him. But he came to Seattle to welcome the headdress that the Seahawk logo came from. And, you know, I have that all the time. I'm going to see if this YouTube video will play. And this is them. I'm going to play 1 minute of the video when it came down to welcome it.
And when we found out that it's truly Quapaquiock in origin, we were very proud. And we come down here today to represent our people in the best way possible. So when we were talking about this, we decided we needed to do two things. The first was George felt that we needed to do a blessing. And second, we need to dance for this mask.
Seahawks. What do you think?
So that changed my life. I was flying somewhere and somebody said, your cousins are in town. They came to welcome the mask. I'm like, what mask? It turns out, and this is the kind of artwork that Andy Iverson does. You can buy this everywhere. He's one of our most famous artists. So how I'm connected to is my great-grandfather. This is Harry Morgan. And my name is Negadzi. Negadzi means, when the white people came, Negadzi means the highest of all mountains, the highest of all chiefs. And it's a very high chief name. And I was given that at a potlatch. Harry, you always hear people like, oh, I had rich parents or I had rich grandparents. Well, I didn't know how rich this man was. If you ever travel to Vancouver, British Columbia, if you go to the University of British Columbia Museum, there's a large room full of his treasure. As the highest of all chiefs, he had all kinds of masks and talking sticks, and it's just absolutely outstanding. So this is where I get my name from, Negadzi. We got a tour, and I got to wear that headdress, that high chief headdress. It's still there at the museum. I had my son Gianni, when he was small, stand in front of it because they locked it back up and he couldn't put it on. This is my mother, Dolly. She's also a high chief. She was giving my son a tour. This is one of the many, many displays of my grandfather's treasures. We call it treasures where we're from. So where this is located is Ellert Bay on Vancouver Island. So if you take Vancouver, then Vancouver Island, and you drive about 6 hours up and you take another ferry, it's very, very remote. So that is very important because, as most of you know, for over 100 years, we were forbidden to dance and sing and tell our stories. So we would go far away in the bush, and our village was so far away. A lot of our heritage and dances remained intact, which was just astounding. And I had visited up there before I found out about the Seahawks, and that's my dad. And I'm holding my son, Gianni, and we're dancing a family dance up there. This is a view from my grandfather's front porch. Well, he had a longhouse. It's Village Island, and we're the Mamalilika people of the Kwakwakwa people. So this would be his front view. It's just amazing. It's so beautiful. I was telling Andrew, the potlatches or the celebrations we have, a potlatch is like a celebration. Potlatch means to give away, just like I gave away the flag. But we have celebrations for birthdays, for naming ceremonies, and they're only like 3 days long. You come, we feed you, we'll put you up. And to me, it's one of the greatest events to ever witness in all of mankind. So if you ever get to Ellert Bay, please stop by and witness one of these potlatches. The dances are just amazing. The headdresses, these headdresses are so heavy. These guys have to be in shape with their necks and their upper bodies and stuff. And to watch them is just hypnotic. I was bored in the hotel last night, so I Googled how far to go from here to where our headdress is. The Seahawk headdress went back to the University of Maine, and it's currently on display sometimes, but a lot of time it's in some back room. So if you leave here and start driving, it'll take you 30 hours to get to the University of Maine. The green arrow is where it came from, that the Seahawks headdress came from. And one day I hope to bring it back from that red dot to the green dot. But I don't know, I may visit and it may disappear one day and head back home. So just after the Super Bowl, they did research. They found the headdress at the University of Maine. They did a fundraiser, and people donated $25,000. That's the headdresses in there. They packed it up. They used a moving company. That's it, unpacking it. So it's really big. And it's a transformation mask. That's it with the wings out. And that's a close-up view of it. And that's inside. That's a man or a warrior. And I do that dance. I'll describe that in a couple minutes. And this is where it all started. John Thompson. In 1975, John Thompson was a general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, of a brand new team, a brand new franchise. And his first job is to get a name and get a logo. And it sounds easy. But the first thing John did was he wanted something Northwest and maybe Native. So he bought this book, Art of the Northwest Coast Indians by Robert Invery, and he just started flipping through it. And he said, that's the mask, that's the Seahawk logo, that's what I want. And I got John to autograph this. That's his autograph. He autographed this last year just before he died. He was getting sick and frail, so I FedExed this to his son. And I really needed this autograph because it really changed my life, this headdress. This is Wednesday, June 18th, 1975. You can see the logo on the headdress. They kind of started it, but they didn't finish it. And they had a naming ceremony. They called it Seahawks. They actually, they put a bid out for natives to submit an updated design, and Marvin Oliver submitted this, but they didn't take it, and they went with their marketing department. They picked the final design was the one on the right-hand side. And that's me holding my headdress. And so I was thinking about wearing that to a game, but that headdress, we were just bathing. It was 15 or 20 pounds. I wore this headdress for about 6 hours a day. I can wear that headdress for about 5 or 10 minutes dancing. It's got to come off. It's so heavy. Some of you probably noticed, I got arthritis in my neck, and I'm going to be passing that headdress on to my son when he does the dance next. My son's 20, and this is me dancing with the headdress on. This is when I was initiated into the Hamatsa Society, or the Warrior Society. So once I found this out, once I found out that the Seahawk logo came from my Native American tribe, I wanted to respectfully, well, the first thing I did, I started asking people around, like, hey, where's the Seahawk logo from? Nobody knew the story. I'm like, it's from my tribe. And I'm like, and so how do I do that? How do I respectfully tell people about something culturally? And you know, so I was sitting in a coffee shop and I looked up, and there was this cutout like that. So I looked at it, measured it, held it above my head. I'm like, a little bit too big. So, and why I want to respect it, this is my great grandfather on my mother's side. He was a high chief. And both of my great grandfathers went to prison. They actually were arrested, went to prison for singing and dancing. You know, I couldn't even imagine prison in the early 1900s, but it must have been hell. But their convictions were so strong to keep our tradition alive and keep stuff moving. They went to prison to keep it alive. So both of my great grandfathers went to prison for singing and dancing. This is my grandfather on my mother's side. He's a high chief. In the middle is my mother. We have female chiefs, and she's also a chief. Her name's Chief Lion. Leon. She has this man, I mispronounce it. So I was deciding what to do. And for years, the police would come and they would arrest the people and they would confiscate those big headdresses. And they were worth a lot of money, and they would go sell them. So what we did, I wasn't there, but what they would do is they would get apple crates and get the apple crates like this. Obviously, I emptied the apples out, and then paint the designs on the side of the dress. And so for me, I thought that was kind of cool that I'd be wearing something like an apple crate, because our headdresses, you know, we lost so much of our headdresses that were confiscated and burned. So I decided to do it in the form of an apple crate that we danced and sang with until it was, I think it was what 1960s where it stopped being illegal for us to sing and dance. So there's a card here, Richard Farrell. I called him up. I said, hey, can you make me a headdress? They're like, what are you talking about? And I'm not a wood carver. I'm not a designer. So between him and I, we sat down, and this is Rich. Sadly, Rich passed away last year. He had numerous illnesses, and he died. And we sat down, he was a Vietnam vet, and he's seen some horrific things in Vietnam. He went through a lot of struggles, and we became very close friends. And it was really sad when he died. Before he died, before he started getting sick, I started giving him more. I have about 12 of these left. Up until now, I gave these away, or I raffled them out for charities. So I have 12 left. He's gone, and I was kind of in a mourning period for 1 year. I didn't make any. It's coming up soon, so I might look to make some more of these. And this is the very first headdress we made. And we made every single headdress we made was better and different, so they're all unique. This particular headdress is sitting in Coach Pete Carroll's office. He was the first person I thought about giving it to, because if you get to know his story, he's a really inspirational person. So with the headdress, I got on eBay. I found this lady in Nebraska. She does my dreadlocks, and that's what it looks like with the dreadlocks on it. And I got to meet Marshawn Lynch at his store in Las Vegas. And I told him the story. The reason why I got these dreadlocks was from him. I copied Marshawn Lynch, and he just cracked up. he thought it was so hilarious that I copied the length of dreadlocks from him. And after one of the games, I gave him the headdress with the dreadlocks, and he had that in his living room. So if you ever stop by Marshawn Lynch's house, you'll see my headdress down there. But it's one of the only times you see Marshawn just laugh. I don't know why he thought it was so hilarious. He thought it was just so cool. This is Sil. She does our bling. There we go. She does like the bling on the side and the bling. Well, she does. Oh, she does some sewing for us. This is my painter, Derek. He paints the inside. And this was a transformation. And that's what inside. So I wore this at the NFL draft. Is this it? The pick is in? Is that what it says? Yeah. So, and it's funny when I heard that, when I come up to people, I open it up, they just freak out, like, wow. So Derek paints these, and that's part of my transformation, is doing the mask. So Derek does different paintings. That's my painter. During COVID, he painted some masks for me to wear. And this is the only part I do. I use my grade 7 woodworking skills to make my transformation mask. And it's so delicate, and I'm just like, oh my God. It's just like carving a statue out here. You make one mistake and it's over. So I go very slow, very deliberate, and I basically put the hinge on. After Derek paints it, I put this on to make it into a transformation mask. And I'm so afraid of doing it, ruining the headdress and ruining the painting, that it takes me hours just to put those 2 hinges on. And then I go around and I take pictures around the world. Somebody was saying that during football season, I get 8 million views a month. And the reason why people keep coming back over and over is to see something different and something unique. And this was in Paris. This headdress was for cancer. And I changed the braids. Each different color is for a different color of cancer. So we have cancer, I think it's November, and I wear that for a couple games during November. This transformation mask was for COVID. And yeah, this was everybody who passed away during COVID, the Seahawk fans that passed during COVID. And I posted on Facebook, like, hey, I'm doing this transformation mask, and can you please give me if you know a loved one that passed, a fan. And within 10 minutes, I filled up the whole thing. Everybody texted me their name, and I put it on there, and I took a picture of it, and I texted it back to them. So my thing was I was bringing the 12 to this next Seahawk game. I still have this headdress at home, and I have about 4 friends on there that passed from COVID, and I just can't. I'm probably never going to give it away. This one here was from cancer, and so on one side I had people. I posted again. Can you give me names of people that passed from cancer? That filled it pretty quick, and I said, what about cancer survivors? So then I did cancer survivors on one side, and people that passed, the Seahawk fans on the other side. And I wore that through a couple games. I did this one for Munich, Germany. The Seahawks played the New England Patriots. We lost, Tom Brady, in Munich. I wore that around Munich. The Germans were just, they couldn't believe. I didn't know much about Germany, but man, I've never seen a person with long green dreadlocks and a headdress. And so we were bigger than David Hasselhoff over there. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty crazy. And this was another cancer one that the American Cancer Association raffled this off at one of their dinners. For some reason, this was my favorite headdress, and I really didn't want to let it go. Oh, because my grandmother had cancer, and I thought about that when I was wearing her. But we went to a bigger cause, and it raised a lot of money. Every single player came over and autographed this headdress, so it was pretty big. I have somebody that puts on the numbers, like on the back here. I use the same person that the Seahawks use to put the line. It's the same Seahawks as a uniform. So I keep changing that. That's Jerry. So he does the lettering. And I have somebody make up the patches. So it just never stops. I'll just look at the mirror, and if something's off, I got to change it. I'll change this around and keep moving. And so then I started it. Now what do I do? I got to start taking interesting pictures around the world to get more viewers. And so this is my very first picture, 12 flag in Sydney, Australia, and the Great Wall of China, diving with sharks, Russell Wilson, the pyramids. And this is why people keep coming back. It's something different, something crazy. It's like where in the world is Waldo kind of thing. This is one of my favorite, Monet Gardens. That's such a peaceful place. If you ever get to Giverny in France, it's just an amazing, beautiful place. This was one of the craziest things. These little 2x4s, straight down, it's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet drop. And one of my friends did it. I'm like, well, he did it, I could do it. And almost died, hashtag. It was bad. And I don't think you can see me peeing in my pants there, but I came pretty close. It was the stupidest thing I've done in my entire life. You hike all the way around, and then you gotta hike back. I thought you just go and get out of there. This is the problem, is you have people taking selfies out there, and this little made in China strap that they give you for $1, and it's not gonna help you. People fall off and die there all the time, we found out later. And here I am, like, grabbing onto those chains, hoping I don't die just for a stupid Seahawk picture so I can get some likes. And there's my buddy Greg Hawk. There's parts of the cliff that there's no boards. There's just little holes in the wall, and you're relying on this $2 strap so you don't fall over. That was in China. It's called the world's deadliest walk. That's my wife and I at Singapore Zoo. This is, I call this Seahawk Rock in Australia. It's really hard to get to it, rent a car and drive for 3 hours. Turns out this is sand. Yeah. So if you're ever off a cliff, don't stand on top of sand over top of the ocean. It was blocked off for a reason, but I had to jump over for the picture to get some more likes. But it's called Eagle Rock, but I call it Seahawk Rock. It was another really difficult place to get to. This was at the Gateway in Mumbai, India. This is in Athens, Greece. It was kind of interesting. You're not allowed to take pictures there. You have to pay them $500 for a picture, for a professional picture. I'm like, can I have a photographer with me? And they tried to grab his camera and pull his card out. We just took off running after we took this picture. Yeah, like, catch us later. This is England. This is almost another hashtag almost died, going into some rivers in Costa Rica. It was like I think it was a number 4 out of 5 river, and we went upside down, and I got trapped underneath, and a guy came down and dove in and pulled me out. That was stupid. And this was a couple weeks ago. I was in India, and I was petting a cobra. I'm not sure that was a good idea either. There's a lot of things that really probably weren't a great idea, but they're a good picture. I got some likes, probably got 600 likes. This was a couple months ago in Cape Town, South Africa. Once again, sitting on a cliff. This was really cool. This was in Jordan, Petra, Jordan. You've probably seen this in Indiana Jones movie, and I was just in Singapore last week. Yeah, I'm so lucky to make it here. Normally I'm flying a lot, and I'm jet lagged. I flew to Sydney, Australia back, and I flew to Singapore back, and then I came here. And luckily, I was able to grab a good nap and a comfort inn over there. Maybe they'll sponsor me. Who knows? Let's see. Oh, wow. Is it playing? No, it didn't play. I had a video on here, but it's not downloaded, so I'll just skip it. So the next step was doing my Hawk Den. In my room, I have lots of jerseys and autographed footballs. And this painter seen me, called me up and said, I want to do a painting of you. And he made this painting of me. And I thought that was cool. He's a speed painter. So this is another big chapter of my life. Hamatsa. And it's a warrior, and I was inducted into the Warrior Society at age 50, and that's really old. Normally, young men are inducted at age 21, and I'm way past that. And what we do is you go out and you don't eat for 5 days. You just drink water. And by the time you come in, you're a wild person. You're having delusions. And so that's what you normally look like when you didn't eat. But I skipped that portion, thank God. And I just came in. So when my cousin came up and said, we're going to induct you into the Warrior Society or Hummus, I'm like, no, forget it. I kind of felt bad. I didn't know the traditions, the songs, the dances, and I didn't know much about it. And my kids looking like, Dad, you forced us to do everything our entire life. You have to do it. Because I always tell them, you have to try everything one time. And I forced them to do almost everything. So my kids, with my kids, I had to do it. So I joined the Warrior Society. I came in as a crazy person and screaming and yelling. And I had these wrapped around me, and I was in shorts in front of about 1,000 people, most of my relatives. This was in Ellert Bay. And then I went out and I changed it to a warrior, and I put the headdress on, and I came out and I danced. This is a picture of me dancing. And after that point on, I was a part of the Warrior Society. It really changed my life. It's like when you hear of Christians getting baptized, and they say that one moment changed my entire life. When I was done, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I decided to help others. What can I do for the better of mankind? Because I've done a lot of things, but never given back. And that same ceremony, my daughter was initiated as a weather girl. And she did the weather dance. This is my daughter getting ready to dance. And that's her dancing. And that was one of my proudest moments, watching one of your children inducted to a society. That's my son dancing. He's doing a seagull dance. And it was a really emotional thing. It was a 3-day potlatch. So then I started giving back. What do I do? How do I give back? So we were going to every single game, and we'd go down, we'd be the first ones in the stadium, and would go down and get autographs. And people love autographs. So we go down, get players to autograph flags, and then we'd raffle them off for $1 a ticket. It started kind of slow, a few $100s. Now we'll get thousands of dollars each week. Like we just did one this week for our local high school. During COVID, the kids got behind on their lunch money. So the seniors weren't allowed to graduate. So we raised $3,400 plus an earlier one of $6,000. So we raised $9,400. We paid off their entire debt, so now they can graduate. Before, they couldn't get their diploma unless their lunch money was paid off. So we go to games early, we bring flags, footballs, and we just stand there, and the players know who I am. They know who Cam. Where is Cam? What? Oh, you're behind the pole. Why are you hiding behind the pole? So we'd stand there. The players know who I am. They know it's for charity, and they come over and sign our stuff. And then we go to the field. That's Tyler. Tyler's such a great guy. We get these footballs with all the autographs on them. There's Pete Carroll, and he was running by, so I grabbed a picture with him. And that's part of the excitement of getting closer to the players and the coaches and all the people. There's Geno Smith, Tariq Woolen, he's such a great guy. And I did a flight to Munich, Germany as a pilot, and I landed in Munich, and I walked by this. I'm like, what's that? And this was at the train station in Munich, and those people just arrived in Munich from Ukraine. So they just evacuated Ukraine, and now they landed in a strange city. And these nice people inside this building will give them food and shelter and tell them where to stay. And so I fundraised for that twice, and I think we raised a total of $20,000 for this Ukrainian refugee shelter. We got a lot of donations. When we're on the road, we try to fundraise for the homeless shelter that's closest to the stadium. So when we were in Indianapolis, the Ruth Lilly Women and Children's Center, I think we had a get together and we raffled off some items. We raised about $5,000 and we brought that over to them. And then this is the Salvation Army. we went and got a picture with them. They were all fundraising for the same thing, so we had a cool picture with them. At home, every year I do a fundraiser for the Union Gospel Mission. That's the homeless shelter that's closest to the Seahawks Stadium, and we'll be doing another. I do it for the first game of the season, so we'll be fundraising for them soon. So this is another thing that changed my life. This is a dugout canoe. We call him Slug, a cousin of mine. I paddled on tribal journeys. Anybody familiar with tribal journeys? So on the West Coast, this was our mode of transportation. We went on the ocean and went from village to village. So with tribal journeys, the furthest one, it might be Alaska, and they start paddling down. We started on Vancouver Island, and it takes about 3 weeks to go from Vancouver Island to Seattle. So we're in the ocean. We paddle out, we paddle down, we paddle for about 8 hours. We pull up to a reservation or somebody's land and say, we're hungry, we're tired, please feed us. And they feed us, and we're allowed to stay there. We have a ground support team, and we stay overnight, we sing, we dance, and then normally a canoe leaves from that village. So every time we stop, we get 1 or 2 more canoes. By the time we get down to Seattle, there's over 100 canoes and thousands of people. And that's coming up. We're gonna land, if you're in Seattle on July 30th, we're gonna land at Alki Beach in Seattle, and there'll be thousands of people down there with over 100 canoes all pulling in. It's gonna be a really, really spectacle. So Seattle arrived July 30th. So then I figured I better get my own canoe. So I bought my own canoe, and we had our own family canoe. These are all my cousins. We bought matching shirts and matching jerseys, 12 jerseys. That's my dad, and that's my sister Betty on the top, and her kids. And this is us canoeing, and we just paddle for an hour. We have a support boat, and we swap out paddlers, but it's a long, long weeks in the journey. And this was, my dad, when he was a young man, he was, I think he was 16, and he was gifted a canoe, a dugout canoe from an elder, and he used it for fishing. And a fish guard came along, and he said he seen one scale in my dad's canoe, and it was illegal. And they burned my dad's canoe right there. And it changed my dad's life forever. Well, and so when I bought this canoe, I made him the captain or the skipper of the canoe. So he was steering. So it brings immense joy to my dad when he's the captain of a canoe again. That's my grandson in my dad's lap, and that's my daughter to my left-hand side. My daughter's a medical doctor, an ER medical doctor up in Edmonton, Alberta. And that's my dad paddling. I think he's got a smile. And that's us coming in for a landing. We really pack people in there because I don't know why we pack people in there. Because everybody wants to be at the landing because there's thousands of people on the shore. And it's really something coming in, arriving at a new village. And this is my dad after we paddled for about 3 weeks in the ocean. We lost a lot of weight. So we do a lot of really cool things. This was one of my coolest things. We got to walk the red carpet at the NFL Honors. And growing up as a Native American on a reservation, we had a black and white TV. That's how old I am. And I'd see people walk on the red carpet in Hollywood. I'm like, oh my God, look at those stars. One day, it'll never happen. And it happened. I was walking along, and some people say, hey, Captain Seahawk, come over, let's interview you. And this is just the night before, a couple of days before the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. So my wife, Cam Hawk, and I, we walked the red carpet, and we interviewed with all the people. And it was, I guess, a young Native American's dream come true to walk the red carpet. And it was really cool. Another cool thing, we went to the draft in Cleveland, and we won the best fans at the draft. This is a little closer. Scott Hansen held it up. We won all expense paid trip to the Super Bowl, airfare, everything paid for. And so we won the best fans at the NFL draft out of thousands of people. And we didn't expect it. They kind of punked us out. They kind of tricked us to go up there. Like, you won the Super Bowl trip. So we were jumping up and down. We were so excited. And then just a couple months ago, we announced picks at the draft, at the NFL draft. And that was a really cool experience. It's so organized and top secret back there. You're not allowed to take pictures because all the draft picks are there. And they have a cool little green room where you sit and there's drinks, and it's really cool. And that's the ones we picked were Jarek Reed in Cam Hawk did Kenny McIntosh, a running back. So that's some of the cool things. When we're on the road, on international trips, we rent buses. Cam Hawk and I rented these buses, 2 of these buses. We filled them up with Seahawk fans. We drive around just screaming and yelling and taking pictures. And we did the same in Munich, Germany this year. We had all these people all dressed up, and we had a great time. And then just once with the social media, it's just finding something different and finding something interesting for people to watch. This was in Kansas City. Andrew's from Kansas City. I'm sure he's been up here. The Scout. It's called the Scout. It was a really cool thing. Cam out took this picture of the sunset. This is walking in Paris. Another different picture. So this is my favorite. I don't know why. They had this at the Seahawks Stadium, so we took that picture. And then I have fun too. I just try to, the Joker, you got to have fun doing it. The mascot of the 49ers, he has to borrow my phone, and then he took a picture of me. It's something Sam or other. And then I use golf. Everything I have's got a Seahawk on it. Everything, everywhere you go, you'll never see me with a Seahawk. And I always wear something with a skull on it. When warring tribes would come over, after we killed them, we would put their head on stakes around our village. So their skulls would be all around our village to warn anybody else, if you come over here, there's a high probability of death. So after I joined our Hamatsa society, you'll always see me wearing a skull representing that I'm part of our society. So I'm always, doggone, this is not going to play. I don't know how. That's it. I had one more. I'm out of time, and I had one more. Let's try one more way to look at it. But this is a 1.5-minute video of my life. It's pretty crazy how you put a person's life in 1.5 minutes. But this young girl called me, and she said, "Hey, can I do a story of you?" I'm like, she looked like she was 16, but she was probably about early 20s. I thought she was coming over with a cell phone and taking a video. Well, 6 a.m, TV crews started showing. I'm like, oh my God. They came in our house and they cleaned out one room, and they made this 1-minute and 30-second video of my life. And it took 10 hours to make this video. Let's see if this plays.
Well, probably no team missed its fans in the stands last season more than the Seahawks missed what they call the 12th man. One of the most famous followers, Captain Seahawk, has flown over 1 million miles in the last 7 years alone just to attend Seahawk games. And he doesn't only celebrate his favorite team, he also celebrates his team connection to his heritage.
I grew up on a First Nations reservation. In my childhood, I seen a lot of domestic violence, alcoholism, and drug abuse. I had to leave the reservation to survive. My quickest path to that was to be an airline pilot. I've attended hundreds of games. I transformed into Captain Seahawk to tell as many people as I can about the history of the Seahawk logo and where it came from. It came from my Native American tribe, the Kwakwaka'wakw on Vancouver Island. The Seahawk logo is actually a transformation mask. After you do a dance, it opens up to a man or a warrior. And when I did the dance, it really changed my life. From that day forward, I decided to help as many people as I can, especially the homeless and the hungry. I took one of my headdresses that I wore in a game, and I put it up for auction. With that first headdress, I raised $500. So almost every week we do fundraisers, and when we're in Indianapolis, we raised $4,000. The Seattle Seahawks is such a large part of my life. During the pandemic, I miss opening my eyes, knowing it's game day. It warms my heart when I hear heartfelt stories of how my donations helps other people in need at a time of crisis.
That's it. That's my presentation. Thank you so much. They gave 15 minutes for questions and answers. If you have any questions, I'll do my very best to try. Go ahead. 12, that's a great question. So on a football team, there's 11 players. And so we call ourselves the 12s because we're the 12th man. And so when they're playing, we scream as loud as we can. Every time we go to the stadium, I lose my voice. I come home with no voice, which is not good as an airline pilot. So I go home and I start drinking tea. So we're the 12th man. We did set the record for the loudest stadium in the NFL, but then Kansas City just took it from us. Go ahead. I'm based in San Francisco. What's that? Yes, yeah. We live in Seattle, or a town called Gig Harbor, which is about 45 minutes south of Seattle. Go ahead.
You set the record. How many decibels?
Was it 129?
Tennessee and Knoxville, we set pretty big records. The Alabama game last year.
Yeah, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. I think it was 129, and I think Kansas State did 131. It was really close. Of course, we accuse them of cheating, of using speakers.
Is that louder than the jet engine?
Yes, yeah, it's loud. Some of the university students have to have a question. Go ahead. Oh my God. I had to, like I said there, I had to leave. So we, like I said, it was right where our reservation was. There was a residential school on our reservation. There was a residential school right on our reservation. It was one of the most horrific one, and there was a lot of rape, torture, and murder there. And a lot of my people I grew up with died from alcoholism, drug addiction, suicide. And as a young man, I'm like, I need to get out of here. I didn't know why all natives are dying. And I just looked up in the sky and I seen a plane go by. And I started taking lessons. And my instructor said, what's that plane? So it's a 747 going to Asia. I said, one day I'm going to be a 747 captain. This is in 1975. He says, give up because they don't hire brown people or black people. You'll never be an airline pilot. And so at age 42, I became a 747 captain. And I went to find him to go like, hey, I'm a 747 captain. I couldn't find him. He turned to air traffic control. But for me, it was a way to leave the reservation. And plus, I was a teenager, and I seen James Bond. James Bond was over in Hong Kong at the bottoms up bar. He had a martini and he had a tuxedo on. Here I am, this poor kid from the res. I'm like, that's what I want to do. And how do I do that? I need to get out of here and go see the world. And so that's why I did. It wasn't an easy process, but I was so determined. I've never met another Native American airline pilot yet. I hear a lot of people, and like, well, my grandmother's second cousin was half Native, but I'm a card-carrying Native, so I'm really proud of it, and I hope that more Natives will be airline pilots. Go ahead. Home. I traveled the world, but like I said, I had an autoimmune disease, so I was losing my eyesight was going, but it's back to normal now. But boy, Monet's gardens, it's so peaceful and so quiet. It almost inspires you. That's beautiful. We went to the Maldives Islands. It's on the other side of the planet, and that was amazing. But nowadays, I'm 64, and we've traveled the world. I like being home, but the whole world, you see something different, something unique. Right now I'm flying a lot to India, and the people are so poor. They walk miles just to get some water and bring it back. And I walk to the bathroom. I just turn the water on. There's some clear water, cold water right there. And that makes you really appreciate what we have here. And that's probably the biggest take back is I'm still discovering things that are just amazing. Like just a couple of weeks ago, petting that cobra. I'm like, this is just plain stupid. But my thirst for desire and knowledge and seeing something different, I think that's what drives me. Because like every day, just, we were lucky enough to go to the very top and hold the face of Crazy Horse. And that was I'll never forget that. And I said a little prayer up there, and that was really cool. And so just just going around the world. But home is the favorite, but I've seen a lot of beautiful places. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll do it after. Go ahead. I don't. I get asked that a lot. And this is one of the first times I've ever spoken. This is the second time in my life I've ever spoken. I was so nervous in the bathroom. My hands were trying to put my paint on. I was so nervous. And so, I don't know. Some people are meant to speak and inspire. You know, and right now I'm hoping my actions will talk louder than my words by just helping people out, helping the homeless and the hungry and sick dogs and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, I get invited all the time. I just don't feel, this is the first time I did this. What do you guys think of this presentation? It was good? Do you think high school kids would relate to that? Yeah, I might do that. There's a lot of reservations around Washington State that invite me for the teach their kids. And you know, like I said earlier, I'd love to have more children or more boys or girls become airline pilots. You got a question?
You know, it's never too late to become a Patriots fan.
Oh, my buddy hates Tom Brady, but Brady's not there anymore. But you know, truth be told, we love everybody. It's such a passion for football, and we love and respect all the fans from everywhere, and 99.99% are good. But there's always one drunk or crazy person that wants to pick a fight with me, and I feel, you know, my first career choice was a professional boxer, and people that know how to fight, they don't get in fights. So I really stay away from that. So, but we get a lot of love. We met a New Orleans fan, and that was the coolest place because everybody was dressed up down there. And we were admiring how dressed up they were and how cool Mardi Gras, like they get dressed up for like a Mardi Gras party every football game, and we're all dressed up, and we had a great time in New Orleans dressing up. You gotta have something. You're deep in thought. Go ahead. What's that? Oh my God! Right now I'm trying to work as much. I'm retiring in 6 months, and so I'm trying to work a lot. So I just squeezed this in for 3 days, and I might be. We got here last night. We went to Mount Rushmore, and we did this, and we're going to try the Badlands, but I might be leaving at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to fly to Delhi, India. Yes, first time ever here. And I read up on Crazy Horse. It really inspired me because he beat Custer. That was cool. And it was on my list to come here to see this Crazy Horse because he was such an inspiration. And the whole thing behind, you know, natives and we have our own kind of thing. I think it's really cool. So it's the first time. My wife wants to move here now. She wants to buy a Jeep and get a cow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But then Andrew said he gets snow here because, you know, 5 feet of snow at a time. You know, we're 1,000 feet up. We're water people. We don't get much snow in Seattle, but we just love it here. The scenery is just amazing. Every time we turn around the corner, coming down here, it's just beautiful. So we've been here a day and a half. We'll probably stay another half day, and then I'm back to work. But we love it. I'd love to. I'd like to stop by Pine Ridge and see that. I've never gone that way. I'd love to see Little Bighorn and stuff. Go ahead in the back. Yes. Myself, it's full time. It's absolutely, and you know, I don't get, Facebook sends me a check for like $3 every month. After a meal, it doesn't even buy a coffee. I can go to Starbucks and ask for half a cup, I guess. But where the money is sponsorship. And I was called down. I was going to get paid, I think, $5,000 for a Super Bowl commercial. And it was supposed to be lip syncing, and they changed it over to real singers. And And so the day before I was going to fly down to do a Super Bowl commercial, they canceled me because I can't sing for my life depended on it. So that's selling yourself. To make money on social media is being a salesman. But most people on social media are artists. Well, I don't know if I consider myself an artist, but I'm trying to be creative and working and changing and doing stuff. So I'm hoping to be sponsored, maybe by one of the casinos or somebody coming out. That's how you get paid doing all of this. But it's really an interesting, unique journey, the social media, getting millions and millions of views and stuff. And of course I delete all the negative. Like there's some really racist, trashy stuff, and I delete and I blocked them right away. But you got to have a tough skin to be doing it. But it's been a really interesting journey. One day, a psychiatrist, I'm sure, will find a secret code on what keeps people clicking over and over to come back to you all the time. But it's really interesting. Any more? Oh, the green boots? I just when I'm jet lagged, lay over on a layover, I just sit there and just Google green boots and just start going through them, and I cannot find where I bought those boots from. They are shipped from China, and mine are wearing out, and I have no idea. I paid like $30 for them, but they're supposed to be worn with like a Superman costume, but they're interesting. I'm trying to find replacements, but I don't know where they came from. Yeah. Any more? We're almost at the end of our time. If that's it, I want to thank my best friend, Greg. I call him Greg Hawk, for coming with me. He's been with me through the whole journey. I want to thank my wife, Cam Hawk, there. I was gone a lot. I was gone for a couple of years on the road and working, just really getting into this. And then she decided to come. And I don't like bringing people with me to a game because we stop every 5 minutes, like, have your picture. And so they would give the phone to her, like, take our picture. Well, the next game, she dressed up like a cheerleader, like a sexy cheerleader. Now she's more famous than I am. And she autographs everybody's jerseys and footballs. So do you have say anything?
I don't have much to say. Anyways, it's kind of really turned into a full-time job. I'm the stay-at-home Susie homemaker, so I'm like the gardener, the chef. I repair stuff. I fix plumbing. So it's like he's gone, and he's gone for 5 or 6 days. Then he comes home, and then he sleeps, and then we do some, we package up stuff and we send it out, and we have stuff blinged. And it's a full-time job. I'm not gonna lie, there's some pretty crazy days. So before a game, we have to get dressed, and then we wear a lot of clothes because we have a lot of cold games. So we put 3 or 4 layers on, and then we have to time it at the same time because he'll take longer, and I'm standing there sweating, so I have to go outside and wait until he's ready to go. Then we get to the game, and we really just enjoy seeing all the different, we have friends there that we see. We see the players, we know them by name. We love our quarterback, so we always say, Gino, and we yell at Gino. It's just really great to have this. It's an outlet for us too, for stress. It gives us opportunity to laugh and cheer and high five the players when they're running by. And there's a lot of good release of all the stress of our regular everyday life. So yeah, we work together as a team, and we love what we do, and handing over those checks and seeing people, they're really thankful for what we do, and we're glad that it's paying back, and we just want to thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right, we started on time and we ended on time. How's that? Thanks again for showing up. We appreciate it.
Thank you.